Today we're talking about the Pintail Lightweight Type 2. The original Pintail was quite a bit different. It did really well. I designed it probably back in, I think it was the first model I designed as early as 2001. And it was basically designed a lot around what boards people wanted at that time. There was more rocker in that board than I would put in a board today. There was a lot more nose rocker, different outline, a little wider nose than this. The basic thing I wanted to get back to with the Type 2 was to get back to the original outline that they used in the 60s, because I feel like it's like a true semi-pig, wide point back, and it just was always a really beautiful outline to me, and I've been wanting to recreate it, and I've made customs for people through the last like 20 years, and I never really ironed out all the issues on it and made it a model, but I finally got the time, and I really wanted to get it nailed. So yeah, the main elements of this board that I want to talk about is the outline is probably one of the most important things. It's a reproduction of the pretty much exactly like the outline of the original 60s Pintail Lightweight. Wide points back, it's definitely back here. I would still consider it like a semi-pig, not full pig, but it's in here, and then the tail pulls in fairly quickly and abruptly into a hard pintail. Not super narrow, but there's a lot of curve back here, and then from where the wide point is, it just kind of goes right into a long curve into a nice point. It's a very aesthetically appealing board. I've always wanted to recreate this board for years. I always love the way it looks, and I love the way it rides. So the rocker basically is sort of flatter, probably one of the flatter tail rockers of all the boards that all the nose riders or sort of the lawn boards that it may make. This is definitely the flatter tail rocker. It's got enough nose rocker, just a nice accelerated nose rocker, not too much. You don't feel like you're going to pearl this board or anything. The rails are basically like a 70-30 rail, which is 70% down, 30% up. So it's somewhat down rail, but still traditional feeling rail. The tail in the back, 18 inches back, has an edge back here. It gives it a lot of punch and drive through the turn. Helps counterbalance the wide point back and that long curve that is very loose, turns really quick. A couple other aspects of the board I did to counterbalance this outline, because it's one of the strongest features in the board. So I had to go flatter across. Not so much roll back here. It doesn't need it. It needs it to be flat, so it gives drive and punch through the turn. It's like all the turning is in this outline, because it's just that curve is really extreme. A nice flat in the middle, very fast board, great trims from the middle really well, even though it's a pig, because it's flat. Overall rocker's flat, but it's also pretty flat across here with the roll kind of more over here, and that makes it a great trimming board from the middle. And then it nose rides pretty good for what it is, the type of board it is, with a flatter tail rocker with about a 3/16 of concave there. You just go right in from a nice big smooth turn, set it up in like a nice wall, even shoulder head high wave. This thing will turn on even overhead. You'll really enjoy it, and you can go right to the nose, get a nice nose ride. Start going into the flats. It'll transition out of the flats, and it won't feel like it's gonna sink on you. You just can kind of get back to the tail and set up your next turn. So it does nice transitions from the nose to the tail for how flat it is in the tail. I feel like it's one of those kind of boards, if you never rode a Pintail before, it's probably a good board to demo and try. Get it in the right day. Cleaner waves, it likes cleaner waves, but It's got a pretty wide range too. It'll ride a 2-foot wave, and it will ride overhead waves. So as far as like a traditional longboard, it's probably got the widest range for the way it surfs off the tail. Really nice. It's going to surf probably the widest range of waves of any of the boards we make. So really happy with the way it transitions from like 2 feet in overhead really well. It's actually a pretty good nose rider, especially like if you're going along and the section pops up in front of you and you go right to the nose, it'll just like carry you through. Definitely when the wave starts backing off, you want to get back. It's not going to dive on you, like just sink and pearl. It's not like definitely not a nose rider, but we'll a lot better nose rider than the original Pintail, which was so much rocker in the nose it almost like pushed water. And some people actually liked the way that nose rode because it had that high performance water pushing type nose ride. I personally don't like that kind of nose ride. So as far as I'm concerned, this is a really well balanced Pintail for a longboard. Like, most people don't think of getting a traditional board as a Pintail, but I feel like if you like Pintails, or if you like boards with the wide point back, I think you'd be really surprised how well this board responds and how much drive and how responsive it is for a Pintail. It's not like a drawn out, slow turning board. It's like kind of like, I'd call it sort of a hot dog kind of board where you can just set it up, flick it, turn it, set it up, go to the nose, and then do some more nice smooth turns on the face. As far as the dimensions are concerned, it's that kind of that classic schedule of widths at 9.6 is 23. I feel like these are really comfortable widths for most people. That it's just not bulky. It's definitely not a bulky board at all. It's probably one of the more leaner boards that I make. It doesn't have a lot of bulk. Because the rocker's so flat, I kept it fairly thin throughout. The rail is kind of tapered with that slightly 70-30 kind of down rail. Feels very responsive and very fast, and I would say, like, if you were a bigger guy, you would want to go a little bigger with this, just because of how quick it does turn. But at a smaller size, I feel like it'd be a great board for, a lighter surfer or a woman or something that wants to have something responsive but not too bulky. Yeah, that's the Pintail Lightweight 2.